Hello viewers, this is Mitch Charles Show, your favorite show. Today I come your way with another exciting topic with my own friend, and everyone knows him by the name Mr. Mitchell. He's not new on the show, and today if you're a student in Europe or in Germany, we're about to tell you so many things that may be of interest. So just stay tuned to this program. Don't go anywhere. I'm going for a break. When I come back, Mr. Mitchell tells us more about your stay here as a student and what you can get from your stay here after graduation and even whilst you're schooling. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. All right. We are back. So, Mr. Mitchell, let's go straight to the point. We talk about the removal of 6,000 scholarships by the German government.
Yes.
Are you aware that the German government wants to take away 6,000 scholarships given to students each year?
Yes, Mr. Charles, the issue is that over the past maybe few months, I think you are aware of the developments that are happening in the world. We have the conflict between Ukraine and Russia, which has also spilled into the economies around Europe and also around the world. And we have also just come from the COVID situation also, and the governments have actually spent quite a lot of money in these two events. So the decision to reduce the sponsorship that has been given to foreign students comes kind of naturally. But now the impact, when you look at the number or the amount of reduction that is being proposed of 6,000 scholarships is quite a large amount of people who are actually going to benefit from this. So yes, I'm aware. I just heard of it recently, and it's a very sad development because
it's such a big blow to students, especially those coming from developing countries like Africa, like Asia, and what have you. I mean, people depend on this stipendium, doctorate scholarship, to come to Germany.
Yes.
And therefore, if the government takes away this scholarship, I think our brothers and sisters cannot make it to Germany as others made it.
Oh yes, definitely. And it's not only the master's student, mind you. We also have PhD students are also affected in this same category. And so, yeah, it's a really big blow for international students as such.
And what about this issue of some states beginning to take fees? I mean, some schools or some universities are about to take fees. You know, we used to say Germany is a tuition-free country, and that is why some of us, we even had a chance to come here to study, like many others. So if one day, if you wake up and you hear that almost all the schools you know are about to take fees, or all the states are beginning to take fees from students, what do you make of this?
Yeah, you know, there's this other statement, Charles, that they say good things don't last forever.
Good things don't last forever.
So it might be some of these things that we are talking about. And so what we are talking about here is that we had in Baden-Württemberg, that was the first state here in Germany where they actually started taking tuition fees.
You're talking about the Stuttgart area?
Yes, the Stuttgart area. And so you find that the universities in this region, all of them you have actually to pay tuition fees. And that's around 1,500 to 1,700 euros per semester. And that is quite a significant amount. Well, you would say it's lower than the rest of probably other countries in Europe, say the UK, but still, because this is something that we kind of like we're used to, so it actually comes as a big blow. So now it has passed on to, or it's still a proposal, I understand, that is being thought about here in Bavaria. Yeah,
that is a point. So if they begin to take the fees, that might not help many students to even study either as masters or bachelors or PhD. Is that your point?
Yes, actually the frightening thing, Charles, is that we are saying it started off in Baden-Württemberg. Now it is in Bavaria. Who knows where next tomorrow? Probably it's actually the trend that they actually like the whole of Germany at the end should actually like be tuition. You should actually pay tuition. So this way the worry is.
It starts like this. You know, one state begins taking the money.
Exactly.
Then the next state also continues from there. So now you have two states planning to or almost about to take monies.
Yes.
But Württemberg began, and Bavaria is about to take it from there.
Yes.
And like you said, nobody knows which state is about to take fees from students in Germany, and that could be a big blow for students coming from Africa, Asia, and other developing countries.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's. I don't know whether you have anything to add about this.
Yeah,
point.
I actually wanted to add something, Charles. You see, there are also variations, you know, within the states that we have here in Germany. There are some states where we would say it's easier to get jobs. For instance, like the regions that we spoke about, Stuttgart area, Bavaria area. But that's not the same with probably the eastern part of Germany, where probably jobs are not easy to come by. And so if they are going to have this spread like throughout Germany, I actually see that it's going to be a big problem.
Yeah, but I asked this question before we go for a break. Are there any opportunities for students to gain experience before they go back home? I'm talking about Ausbildung, talking about paid internships. Are there these things, I mean, are they so clear that students do get internships, students can go for Ausbildung and what have you? Because to survive here or to stay here means you have to get a job.
Yeah.
And the only reason why you are in school now is to get a good job, a well-paid job, so that you can also subsist on that.
Yes.
So we are students, and many students are also coming. Some came before us. Yep. If you look at the landscape or the system, you sure there are some opportunities for students to get paid internships and let's say go for Ausbildung.
Right, Mr. Charles, there's this statement that I just stumbled upon when I came here to Germany. And it says that you should actually seek to be informed.
You have to seek to be informed.
Exactly, because that's the thing. I mean, you just don't come here to Europe to say, okay, I'm going to study, and then you don't actually have like a plan. So the thing is, when we talk about the options for internships, well, the options are actually there. Some of them are paid, some of them are not paid. And there are a variety depending on the area that you actually probably relate to. Say, probably it might be within the industries or it might be whatever sector it is. So we through your university, I think most universities do have it now, there's actually a portal where you actually go to this portal and they advertise, you know, if there are internships or whatever. And sometimes even in the Mensas also, they also have these places or notice boards.
The boards, they do paste some jobs and internships information over there.
So you find some people just come for the lunch, they don't bother to look at the notices, and you actually miss out on some of these opportunities.
Yeah. Okay, hey, if you're a student in Germany, please, when you go to your Mensa, your cafeteria, try visit the notice boards. That is where they do keep many information in there. Job, internship, Ausbildung, whatever. The Germans or the schools do keep such information over there. So please, when you go to Mensa, it's not be about food, food. It should be about information. In Germany, information is everything. Not only in Germany, in America, in Australia, in Europe. If you want to live and live in peace, go for the information. Be informed. Be informed. We're going for a break. When we come back, we tell you more about your stay in Germany, what you have to do as a student, and what you can gain as a student before you go back home, or while you are still studying in Germany. What do you get? How do you live as a student? Wait for me. I'll be right back. All right, we are back. It's your show, Meet Charles Show. We give you nothing but the best. We talked about internships. You can visit Forage Virtual Experience platform or website. Over there, you meet big companies. You can have your internship with them. And in some states like München or Baden-Württemberg and many states in Germany, top companies do come together as a job fair, something like a job fair. So if you're a student and you want to have your internship, whether paid or unpaid internship, you can go or attend some of these job fair or meetings, and you can have an internship or a job. We just hope for the best and nothing else. So we were talking about internships, Ausbildung, and what have you. It comes down to integration. Integration. How do students integrate when they are in school and after school? Are there clearly defined policies or programs for high level of integration in Germany? Are there clearly defined policies or programs for a high level of integration in Germany? I mean, per your experience, what do you say about this?
What I would say, Charles, is that from my perspective, I think the effort to have this integration is actually there. I think all universities actually have an international office, and this international office, they actually seek that international students come, they feel welcomed, and they're actually like a center for information where things like scholarships, the financing aspects, and even your general welfare is also looked into. And so when you also look into this other aspect of things like language, for example, and the language tuition, particularly German, is also heavily subsidized within the universities. So this is actually the place where you can actually get your German tuition at a very affordable rate, yes. And apart from the language, the international office also helps you like with your general welfare within the, like, let's say your accommodation, etc. That's also on another level.
Yeah, when it comes to information and accommodation, that office really helps.
Yes. And well, what else could I say about integration? Then let's say after you finish your program, there is also this policy where you're actually given 18 months when you have to look for employment. So it's another thing whether the 18 months is really adequate.
Yeah, they give you 18 months to help you search for a job.
Yes.
But as to whether you can get a job within 18 months is a whole topic to be discussed later.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, judging from what I've seen, it looks like sometimes the 18 months is not enough. We've seen people who, at the end of the 18 months, still they haven't yet found a job. Possibly for various reasons. It could also be something to do with the language that we spoke about. And I actually think that sometimes it might be better if this, the language aspect could actually be done before commencement of the program. Because then when you actually start your studies, the language aspect is not factored into your normal timetable.
Yeah, that is also
you're expected to attend all the language.
That is a bit debatable. To even attain B1,
yeah,
it means you've spent more than 3 months. If you want to do intensive and get to the B1 level,
yes,
you need not less than 2 to 3 months. So if, let's say you came from Africa or Asia and you have to spend 3 months on a language course, even 6 months, or let's say it's almost 6 months.
Yeah, it's not easy. Deutsch, my guy.
Deutsch, yeah, Deutsch gelernt. You must feel Deutsch gelernt. You have to spend 6 months.
Yes, that's a long time.
And how will you live? They will not pay you for studying. You're only looking for the best. You only came from Africa and you want to spend 6 months. I wouldn't say waste. You are spending 6 months on a language before you start the actual program. That is a bit debatable. But here, don't you think the master programs, the PhD or the bachelor programs are designed? They are designed in such a way that once you are done, you have to go back home. So they don't focus on integration. Just visit the website of these big universities and all the top-notch courses. You realize that after reading through or going through the background of the course, you realize that all they want to offer you is the knowledge. And after that, you have to go back to where you came from, whether you are from Cameroon or Ghana, Zimbabwe, Uganda, Kenya. They don't care. What they've offered is the knowledge, and the rest is you searching for your own job
Yes.
That is what I think they need to focus on, integration. What could make us get these guys on board in some sectors of the economy? How do these guys get job after this program? It should be of concern to the German government, or what do you say?
Well, that one is a bit of an interesting topic, Mr. Charles, because the thing is, the German government is not there to like bring everyone from Africa and come and stay here in Europe. You know, at the end of the day, they are saying, okay, we've done our part, right? And probably you could go back to your place and you know, help the development there. But you do raise an interesting point, because you would find that some of the really beneficial programs, either you actually have to pay large sums of money in tuition, or the programs are actually done in German. So that actually reduces then your chances of getting into the really, you know, lucrative, as it were, courses. And then you are kind of left with those courses where you know, maybe the competition is just so much, etc., and makes it also difficult for you then, like you say, to integrate into the system. But the good ones, you know, like we talk about renewable energy, those kind of courses are in German. Probably you have to learn German before you come to Germany, though it's also not easy.
Yeah, and that brings about the issue of CIM, CIM and GIZ. If you check the role of CIM and GIZ, it's like they help to prepare students who end their course or go back home.
Yeah.
And if you get back home and you find a job, if you find a job, CIM will help you with some stipend. Almost every month they will give you some money for about a year or so.
Yeah.
And same as GIZ has also enrolled some students from Germany or who studied in Germany, and they are working with them. Do you think their efforts should be doubled? I mean, you think they should work more than what we see now?
Actually, I think the first thing is to commend the government for doing that, the German government, because it's actually probably not really necessary for them to do that. But actually, like, they're going out of their way to say, okay, Charles, you're going back to your country. We know it's not easy for you. Then you are not fully conversant with what has happened back home. You also need this kind of transition, and so they give you money that whilst you're making that transition, and also as an incentive, so that you can actually then go back, right? So I would say the first thing is to commend this, because it's not all the governments that do that. So we need to commend that. And whether that's enough, well, that could be something that could be looked into. But because I'm not quite sure of the exact amounts that they...
I actually can point out, but what we're saying here is that when you are done with your bachelor's or master program, there is a body called CIM, C-I-M, and they work with GIZ. And when you go, let's say, to your home country, if you return home and you get a job, they also give you money almost every month for about a year or two. So all you need to do is to get a job, find a job 1 year as you return home. If you return home for over 2 years without a job, that thing is not. I mean, you're out.
Yeah, you don't continue.
You don't benefit from that thing.
Oh, okay.
But when you get a job within a year after you left Germany, then the CIM and GIZ partnership thing is there for you to also earn some money from the CIM. So this is an information to those who didn't know, and you can always contact CIM Secretariat for more information. Yeah, so you were on the government, thanking the government for that policy. Yes. And what else can you add?
Probably the last thing that I would say is that, like I mentioned, it's an incentive for students to go back to their countries. But as you are aware, it depends also with the home countries. Some are in a very difficult situation for you to get jobs. And this now creates a challenge where the incentive is there, but then you look at the incentive and you look at the prospects of remaining in the country, you are now weighing which is better, So depending on the circumstances, I think this GIZ effort is actually good. But if you can't find a job, or the job prospects are not so good in your country, this is where the challenge starts to
yeah, because in some countries it will be very difficult to get a job within a year.
Exactly.
Especially as you traveled from Germany back home.
Mm-hmm.
They think you've been in Germany and you are returning for a job.
Yes.
That is a perception.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, to get a job within a year could be something else. And therefore, SIM and GIZ could look at this and let's say, instead of saying 1 year, you say 2 years. Because in some countries, it's very hard.
Mm-hmm.
Very hard to get a job. Yeah. So, that is that. What about the role of embassies? Many students believe that embassies could assist them with career counseling or job search assistance. I mean, this is so topical that embassies are reluctant when it comes to the welfare of students in Europe, let's say in Australia or in America. We have embassies in there, whether Ghanaian embassy or Ugandan embassy or Kenyan embassy or Zimbabwean embassy.
Mm-hmm.
We know that their role is not about students. Mm-hmm. They are in here for economic and other partnership or integration. Mm-hmm. But modern embassies should realize that there are students who come from their countries to study.
Yes.
And if nothing at all, they could offer them career counseling or job search assistance. What do you make of this?
Yeah, that's an important point that you raised there, Charles. Traditionally, we know that the embassies were places that you go for visa, for your passport, for your fingerprints, etc., etc. But as the situation stands right now, we've actually seen an influx of our students from particularly Africa coming to study, let's say, here in Germany. And with that in mind, it actually calls on maybe for a change in the way we see things. But we also know that it also requires expertise, you know. So this expertise might not be exactly maybe found within the embassies as of now. But I think this is something that they need to look into, particularly with the view that if they take the students who are learning in the foreign countries, like here in Europe, they take them as the future of the country, like wealth, you know. These people are actually equipped with various skills from medical field, you know, in the engineering, you know, Germany is called an idea country, you know. So with all the various skills that are now resident with our students. Now, the thing is bringing back this wealth that we are talking about back to our countries. This is where I think that the embassies should actually take an initiative to say, okay, we have our students equipped with various skills in this area, and how can we transport this wealth back to our countries for the development of our countries? Because, you know, sometimes it's the very simple things that are actually needed to get things moving back home. And the students actually represent, you know, like a force, an army that we actually are keeping here in Europe.
Yeah,
yes,
it's a fact, because you came here to gain knowledge, and therefore these embassies could tap into that and build our countries back home in Africa or Asia.
Yes.
So that is a solid point. We're going for a break. When we come back, we take it from there. Yeah, so we're back. Mr. Mitchell, let's look at the courses that foreign students do.
Yep.
In Europe or in Germany. Do you think the courses that foreign students do enable them to get jobs in Germany, let's say after their studies?
Okay.
Do these students get jobs to do?
Right. Well, it's a very difficult question to answer because, mind you, you know, the number of courses that we have are actually so many. But then we also want to look at the kind of courses that international students are most likely to do. And so we would think that most students are actually going to come and study courses that are actually going to be in English, because their German is not that developed for you to actually study in German. So the courses that are actually done in English, you would find that then they become oversubscribed, because that's where all the international students
who are pushing themselves
yes,
into.
They are competing for these same programs. And then when it comes to the job market, it's the same story again, because then the same people with very limited German skills are now competing for these same jobs as well.
I get it.
So in a way, this way we can actually say in a way, they don't enable them to get jobs, as it were. But being the courses, they are just nice courses.
Yeah, the names are nice.
Yes.
The knowledge that you gain is
also,
super good.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you get a job after your master's is always the problem.
Yes.
And that is why we're talking about internships. We're talking about how you can diversify, learn other courses in addition to what you're doing.
Yes.
Don't rely on one course for about 2 or 3 years, thinking that you will get a job after that. Diversify.
Yeah.
Go for internships, and you can get something good out of that. Yeah. So, are you done with your submission on that?
I just wanted to add there that it's not always about school, because this is another thing that we also miss the mark. Here in Germany, there's like so many conferences, opportunities to network. Yeah, because now, for instance, if you are doing it at master's level, at PhD level, this is a high level, and you need to get noticed. So how do you get noticed? You should be out there positioning yourself for a particular career path, and not waiting to be a recipient of some sort of help. So reach out, write papers, do different things, and reach out to people in these influential positions.
Yeah, I don't get you. Let's talk about the issue of TOEFL and IELTS. If I say IELTS, I'm talking about the IELTS course. And these are tests that one have to do before you can gain admission into some schools in Europe.
Yes.
You've been in Germany for about 3 years now. Let's say 2 years, getting to 3 years. Do you think TOEFL or IELTS is still relevant? I mean, after staying in Germany for some time now, you think TOEFL and IELTS should be demanded of students when they are coming?
I've got my very, very strong opinions on that one. What I actually feel is, of course, there's need to standardize, the language that people are going to be using. Let's say if it is within a learning environment. But at the same time, I feel like we have countries which actually use the British system. Right, from primary school to high school to university, it's all in English, and possibly they've also been working, and the medium of communication was still English, and so I find it at times that the requirement is a bit absurd in some cases. I think the need should be, let's say, they should just require of students who have studied their degree programs in English, and if they can just prove that, for me, I think that is sufficient. This business of IELTS, it looks like it's a money scam to me. That's my interpretation of it.
It's a money scam to you.
Yes.
Yeah, because students have to pay to do this IELTS.
Yes, and by the way, it's 350 euro.
350 euros,
yes.
And you have to also pay to do TOEFL.
Yes.
And it's not guaranteed that you will pass.
Oh, yeah.
Paying the money doesn't guarantee you will pass.
Yeah.
You have to put in some kind of effort to pass TOEFL or IELTS. And by experience, I'm not sure one needs TOEFL to pass masters over here. You don't need strict TOEFL exams to be able to pass or go through a master program in Europe or in Germany, if I should say. That is my worry, and that is why countries in Africa or Asia have to speak up. The parliaments in Africa have to speak up. That on this show, Charles declared that students do not need TOEFL or IELTS so much to be able to do master program or bachelors in Europe or Germany. And that could take off some kind of a burden from parents and students, because some schools in Europe or in Germany demand TOEFL and IELTS. And you have to go and pay huge sums of money to write the test. And nobody knows whether you pass the test or not. And these tests demand of you some band or some score. For TOEFL, you need almost 90 over 120. I mean, to gain admission to some schools. For IELTS, you need over the 50 band
Like 6.5.
Like 6.5, a band of 6.5 or so, to gain admission into some schools. What we are simply saying is that some students could have made it to Europe. Some students could have gotten admission into some schools in Europe, but because of the TOEFL and the IELTS factor, they couldn't come. They didn't even apply because it's about you thinking of going to do TOEFL exams or IELTS exams and passing. Then after passing, you think of applying for a school in Europe, and this is quite a burden to many parents and many students. And therefore, Parliament and leaders in Africa must speak up on this matter. Let's talk about students in general in Germany, the international students. Are you aware of any association of international students which you are a member, or are you aware of that body?
Yeah, so with regards to associations for international students, I think they are in existence. But I think they were really affected by the COVID situation, and they were like almost like not available, because they need to meet, interact, but this was not possible during the COVID situation, and so I think now it's beginning to open up because the lockdowns have been removed and students can now interact much better. But what I actually see which has been happening is that students from probably the same countries kind of tend to meet regularly amongst themselves, and probably that would be then sort of an international association for students from the same country. So it's also a disadvantage for students who come from countries where there are just a limited number of students, but where we have the Nigerians
in their numbers,
we have the Ghanaians,
in their numbers.
Yeah, so those kind of have that advantage. But what I actually feel is like if there could be like an umbrella body, let's say for students all coming from Africa in one uni, for instance, and then later on it can be connected to the other universities. We get to also meet, and cross-pollinate ideas and come up with really fantastic projects that we can do in our various countries. Yeah. Let's say the Association of Students from Africa here in Freising, for instance, they team up to say we want to do a project in the Horn of Africa, Eritrea, or somewhere where we know there is a drought, and they come up with a certain package to assist this place, and they go and do that project. That's something that I really look forward to.
Yeah, so there's actually a block or a group of students, but it's always like a group of Nigerian students, group of Ghanaian students, group of students from Zimbabwe or Zimbabwean students. Yes. You hardly see a group of African students. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I hardly see that.
Yeah, so there is the need for us to have a group of African students, and not a group of Ghanaian students only, not a group of Nigerian students only. Yes. That is why we are calling for high levels of integration. How do we even integrate? I'm talking about Africans in the diaspora. Yes. How far have we gone with our own kind of integration? So if you happen to come from Uganda or Zimbabwe, and let's say you are only two on a campus, you cannot even hold any meetings or have any programs, because the Nigerians and the Ghanaians will be having programs upon programs, and you have none to do because your number is not so sufficient for you to even call yourself a group. Yes. I do understand you. What's your last submission about what we have discussed so far? The TOEFL issue, the role of embassies issue, the courses that we do as foreign students, are they enough to enable us get a job issue? We talked about the internship, paid internship or unpaid internships. We talk about Ausbildung. The idea here is that people believe that students who come from developing countries should be given the chance to do Ausbildung or get some kind of a training elsewhere whilst they are schooling. And these are the things that we have discussed so far on this show. What do you make of it, your last submission?
Right. What I can actually say, Charles, is that there is a lot of transition that is going on We actually talked about the possibility of some states beginning to introduce tuition fee. We spoke about some scholarships being slashed as well. So you see that there is something that is shaping up. And this shaping up is actually not in the interest of international students. So what I would say is you actually need to be informed before you come. It's gone are the days where you say, I'm going to abroad and things are going to be sailing nicely. It might not sail nicely because once you are here, initially you start the program, no tuition. 1 year down the line, tuition starts, and then you have to find the money, So there's this need to really plan your trip to Germany, and you need also to open your eyes and really see on a wider spectrum. Probably, not to say Germany or Europe might not be the best, but you have to come with an open mind that things can actually deteriorate. Yes, that's what I think.
Plan your trip to Germany or Europe and be informed. Get the information before you travel. Know what you are going to do, and as you have arrived, get information. How do I live here? And even before you complete your program, get information. What will I do after my program? This is what we have been talking about in other videos, which you can check. So thank you for coming on the show. This is where we draw curtains for today's show. Thank you so much, Mr. Mitchell. And thanks so much that anytime we want to rely on you or count on you, you don't disappoint us. And Mitch Charles Show will have an award for you soon. Thank you so much, Mr. Mitchell.
No, you're welcome, Mr. Charles. Anytime.
So we say bye to our dear viewers.
Ciao.
Ciao.